actually gonna ask this. How about this? Because I'm weird about having a third person, Josh. So, was it possible for you to record and
not be
Like,
here?
hi.
Today we're in Seoul, South Korea, speaking with female millennial entrepreneur Yvette Cruz. You are Mexican and Puerto Rican or
Puerto Rican.
Yes, okay. And
American.
An American, and you've come to Korea and you're teaching and you have this love of fashion, and we've met through GGI. And I just want to know though, because I know you have a blog. And you have big aspirations to do many things, and I want to know how this was even born. How did you get from the States to here? How did you start your blog? Like, I want to know your story.
Well, it all started in Chicago, and I went to fashion school, and I would say that that's where the fashion thing comes from and all started.
Before then, did you have a passion for fashion?
I mean, since I was young in high school, yes, I had a passion for art. I guess the thing is that I never really had it just all organically happened. I started out drawing, and that was a therapy when I was young in high school, and I just enjoyed doing that. And then I just enjoyed drawing people, and I enjoyed drawing women because I really think that all women are beautiful. So I started to draw fashion pictures, fashion illustrations, and my art teacher was very supportive of my art, my passion to draw illustrations, fashion illustrations. So from there, I decided to pursue a career in fashion, and I realized I couldn't sew, and I didn't have the patience to sew. And then I realized that there are so many different aspects about the fashion industry that I can get into. Well, I had to start working at a very young age because my mom is a single mother, so I wanted to help out my family by me getting a job early. So I started working very young, and one of the jobs that I started out in was at Express. You know, Express clothing. And I worked there for a really long time, and I had that retail just to get experience in retail and in the fashion industry. There are a lot of good things to learn working in retail. And then I was also going to school, and I worked in a lot of different retail positions. I worked at Express, I worked at Gap, I worked at Old Navy.
So a lot of different retailers.
Yeah, I think at one point I had like 3 different jobs at the same time and going to school.
Wow, you're definitely a go-getter. I mean, you're gonna make it happen. So you have all these jobs, and then how did you go from there to come teach here in Korea?
So actually, before that, I had all these jobs, and then I decided to get into the marketing and advertising industry because it goes along with the aspect of, how can I say, the business aspect of the industry. So I was working in as an intern for advertising agencies, and then I had a job as a marketing coordinator before, and then I decided to switch over into teaching because I just wanted to take a step back from the industry.
Why?
Because it is very chaotic, as most people probably know, and cutthroat. So I just had a moment, or this just time phase in life, where I just was like, my mom's a teacher. She's been teaching forever, and she inspired me to just try teaching. And I decided, okay, if I'm going to be a teacher, I want to still use my background. So I thought something that would go along with that was art. And then I thought maybe later I can be a fashion instructor in a school. So hence why I decided to get into teaching.
Wow.
That's how that happened.
Well, you had to have been bold enough to say, I need to stop, take a break, and then try something different, and then kind of continue somehow in the future and trust that was going to happen. So that's really awesome that you took that step back and then you went into teaching. So did you go into teaching back in the States, or was it the first time here?
In the States.
Okay.
So the best way to do that, since I don't have a teaching background, is to start in substitute teaching.
Okay, so you decided to go into teaching and you're taking a step back from the whole fashion industry, and you're very inspired by your mom, who's also a teacher. And now you start subbing in the U.S.
Yes.
and teaching ESL.
I wasn't teaching ESL in the States, but I was looking into it and just doing research about it. And then from there, I ended up coming to Korea. And I started teaching ESL here. And Korea happened to have a fashion haven, and I connected it with my background, and I decided to explore my business ventures or my goals from my fashion background.
That's cool. So then, since then, you've started a blog. Can you tell me about that?
Well, I didn't start right away. I lived in Korea for a while, and I taught.
How long have you been in Korea?
I've been in Korea 4 years and now 2 months.
So do you speak Korean?
A little. Just
Yeah.
very little.
That's awesome.
No. But thank you.
Wow, so 4 years. So what just happened in these 4 years then?
Oh my gosh, that's like a whole nother interview.
About fashion and the blog.
So I started District Gal 2 years ago, and I've decided to connect with the fashion industry in Korea, but being that this is a country that speaks another language, I wasn't sure how I was going to go about that, or how to get involved, or if it was even going to work. But I knew that Korea needed a presence in English about the fashion that is in Korea, because they have a huge Korean community who does that in Korean, but there wasn't much about
English.
Korea in English. So I decided to start my fashion blog.
That's really cool. So who are you working with right now?
So right now I'm mostly managing things on my own, but there are people who sometimes get involved for short term or long term. But I have a good friend who's my editor, and she's living in Shanghai. And then I also have another person who helps me out with the website as well.
That's really awesome. So what's your big vision with the blog?
Well, here's the thing. I feel that sometimes having that big vision in front of you so close can be intimidating. So I just let it all happen organically and naturally. So the way that this has all happened from the begin with, and I would say, of course, ideally I would love to have my own fashion company or fashion brand or fashion line or fashion store, but for now I just see it as something that's a part of my life that fulfills another passion that I need with the rest of my life.